Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new episode of the Sports Insight with your host Alamdar Khan. And yes, we bring in news from sports world all across the globe. But anyways, what you can do is you can reach out to us if you want to through our social media handles, which is at the rate of Indus News Sports. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to the headlines first. Yes, Pakistan versus South Africa. Imam-ul-Haq will not play against the Proteas due to the injury that he had in New Zealand. Yes, Liverpool versus Manchester United. It's going to be an interesting match waiting for that to happen on Sunday. And from the world of Formula One, Charles Leclerc actually tested positive for coronavirus. And a limited attendance is planned for Augusta National in April. That's from the world of golf. So yes, those were the headlines, and we'll definitely be talking more about it. But before we take the show further, we'll definitely be focusing on Pakistan versus South Africa. But before that, I would definitely want to give an introduction of our special guest today, who there's so many achievements that I'm really happy to have him on board. From the basics, I'll start. He has a world record of only father and son in the world to score 200 double centuries in Test cricket, and then he has a world record of 3 generations of double centuries in first-class cricket. He has a world record of highest number of cricketers produced in his family. He had scored second fastest 2,000 runs in Test cricket in only 47 innings, which is obviously one after great Javed Sahab. And then one of the only 5 players in the world who have scored 5 Test centuries in 5 consecutive matches. And not only that, he's ranked number 1 batsman in the world back in 1991. He has also scored over 1,000 Test runs within 10 Test matches. He has scored 7 Test centuries, including 2 double centuries and 13 50s with an average of 45 runs per innings. There's so much more that I have to introduce him for, but anyways, Shoaib Saab, thank you very much that you finally decided to join us. I'm so happy to have you on board, sir. How are you?
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much. All Zabardast.
Sir, with the wisdom, with the amount of achievements that you've made in your life, and it's an absolute honor of having you on board. And with obviously the time that you've spent with regards to the world of cricket, not only that, your knowledge, your wisdom would definitely add more to the show. We'll start off with Pakistan versus South Africa, but before that, I want to take the journey back to the tour that we actually had in New Zealand. So would you please shed more light with regards to how the team, the situation of coronavirus, the pandemic, the isolations, the situations, not practicing, and coming to a point of losing that series. So we'll start off with Pakistan versus New Zealand first. Your take on it, sir.
The thing is, Pakistan had not really performed well to our expectation, because there were quite a few reasons added all together at one time.
Right.
The lame excuse given by Misbah-ul-Haq that COVID-19 was the major issue. I would like to take you, say about 60 years back,
right,
to 1958. Pakistan had to travel all the way to West Indies on a ship, and
right,
it took them 30 days. Wow. And then yet, mashallah, the great iconic Hanif Mohammad Saab,
right,
he scored a world record out there, batting for 3.5 days.
Wow.
So it is all the mindset, what you have prepared yourself before
right,
time.
Right.
Not rather going into a tour and then getting the know-how, the technicalities, and those sort of things.
Right.
So I guess then there were few decisions, probably using a T20 bowler into a Test match,
right,
giving him a chance, and yet bowling him for a lengthier period of time. It was a dream come true for the New Zealand batsmen to score freely and open their arms up against a flatter bowler who is basically known for his bowling in T20 game.
Right.
Then, of course, our batting display. When you are not completely sure of your off stump, where the third off stump is,
right,
then you tend to go for those balls even which are about a foot away.
Right, sir.
So naturally, the technical abilities were lacking for surely
Right.
against seam bowling. And then, of course, Pakistan had been very vulnerable against the short pitch deliveries, and they exploited to its fullest against the Pakistani batsmen, and they just pitched short time and again, and they were exposed, and they got out for a very mere short number of runs under their belt.
R-
So overall, New Zealand played very professionally.
right, sir.
One should have learned how Williamson took the innings on the first day of the first Test match. They only scored about 223 odd runs in a whole day,
Right.
and yet managed to get away with 450 odd at the end of the first innings. So that shows the mindset and the abilities what they possess, and Pakistan lacks.
Right. So I'll go to the batting side, like as you're discussing, definitely. Why do Pakistan players, specifically when it comes to the batting side, have technicalities and technical issues with regards to short ball? Obviously, it's something that has been on for a while. We always, sometimes, not only the coronavirus pandemic stuff, but people always have this excuse that we still don't have that short pitch. And what can we really do to make our players, the batsmen, our top order, come to that point of being strong enough to hold on to the initial overs?
Well, for that, you need to do your homework. Simple as that. It's 2 plus 2. It's the first class education what you get. You need to do your homework first.
Right.
And for that, you need to practice time and again, and prepare yourself in such a manner that once the bombardment of short pitch deliveries are coming onto you, either you evade it to perfection,
Right.
either you hook them,
Right.
or do both. Depends. I used to get most of my runs on short pitch deliveries.
Nice.
I used to await, and yet I used to score. Even I used to tap it for one single run. So that shows that I was in a good position to either hook it for a boundary,
Right.
and if not, then you can just tap it and score for a single run or two, or maybe. So the thing is, you need to practice to an extent
Right.
where you need to give yourself that kind of platform
Right.
where similar sort of fast deliveries are passing your ears left and right, and you need to either, like I said earlier, you need to practice on those, and the footwork has to be spot on against real fast bowling of world class bowlers. You
Right.
need to be very courageous.
Right.
Your technical ability, your focus, your mindset, your determination, that takes you all the way to for a bigger score, rather than just because and the major the initial question what you had put on, the major problems here in Pakistan are basically three. One is bad umpiring. Second
Right.
is bad pitches.
Right.
They are basically very docile. They're very batting oriented.
Right.
And when they go to other countries, they get exposed. And thirdly, what was it? Let me think of it. Probably it is the major thing. All the coaches around Pakistan, PCB has put to task.
Right.
Either they had been a failure in their lifetime,
Right, sir.
one or two games for Pakistan or international cricket, one or two matches or one or two test matches doesn't give you a certificate you had passed in that subject.
Exactly, sir.
The thing is, if you need to know the intricacies, and if you have played against 100,000 people, and the roar, the pressures what you face, that needs a stronger mindset.
Right.
You got to be very strong at your knees for
Right.
it to confront
sir,
all those situations.
whenever
So,
you used to,
just
whenever
one last.
yeah, sure.
So these coaches they had put on, the PCB has put on, they had been exposed left, right, and center.
Right.
Period. And those are the coaches who had been coaching these youngsters who come to the Pakistan team
Right, sir.
unaware of of those technicalities, and yet they get exposed. And if they happen to play somehow the other 40, 50 games, then they tend to learn a trick or two and step up the ladder. So that's how Pakistan, this is one of the major core reasons why Pakistan graph had been sort
Right.
of a heartbeat situation.
Right, sir. Sir, we'll take a quick break, and once we come back, we'll have more wisdom coming from you. See you guys after the break. And yes, welcome back. And as discussion was on with Sir Shoaib Mohammad, we're talking more about Pakistan cricket failure that actually took place in New Zealand, and is the team is ready for the upcoming match and upcoming tour of South Africa. So, sir, I'd like to ask you one interesting question with regards to fielding, because you've also been a fielding coach and you've put in that wisdom to the team. The fielding of Pakistan cricket team was to a point of no return back in New Zealand. I mean, like, we can't blame everything on coronavirus pandemic. I understand the pressure, I understand the psychology, I understand the psychiatric perspective of it. But what is your take? How did you see that performance of fielding that actually made them lose that whole spirit of team as a team?
Alamdar, the thing is, they had been a reasonable side in fielding, but the graph is again like they're betting. Some days they are good at it, sometimes they are not up to the mark.
Right.
Core reason to my understanding is you need to be very passionate, and you got to be leading from the front. In the sense, like supposing if I give you my stance on it,
Right.
when I used to go into field, I used to think every now and then that I would be, diving to my left for a catch or saving a boundary
Right.
to within my mindset.
Right.
So that used to keep me on my toes, all the time. So naturally, when you are on your toes, you can move quicker,
Right.
and onto your both sides.
Right.
Then second lame excuse what they give usually these days, players, they, if the ball is not to their onto their right hand side, most of the fielders are right-handers. God has given you muscles absolutely the same on every part of the body.
Right, sir.
The thing is, you need to practice in such a manner. If you pump up iron every now and then for a whole year with one single hand, naturally you're going to get mass on your right hand rather than the left. So you need to practice both ways. Thirdly, they want the comfort zone is always there with them. They want to, just be very excited in a smaller bunch of group of players where they wear gloves, spongy gloves, so their hands are safe.
Right, sir.
The thing is, when you go into the field with bare hands, you tend to take the balls onto the other side. When the glove or the comfort paddings are there, you can take it to any part of the palm, and yet you can hold off a catch.
Right.
But again, it's in the mindset. They don't even they are not aware as to how to take a proper startup.
Right.
Which leg needs to be used first, the left or the right? If you use the wrong foot first, then you'd be at least 6 inches to 1 foot, or maybe 2 feet away from the ball, if you are taking your initial step with the wrong foot first.
Right.
So there's so much of intricacies. And mashallah say, God had been very kind that I was, in 90s, I was named the best fielder in the world, and yet the best batsman in the world. At the same time, none other Pakistani batsman or the fielder has the privilege, or any player rather, who had the privilege, distinction of having such feathers.
Right, sir. We're surely happy about the whole idea, and that is why I actually wanted that wisdom to come out from you, sir. With regards to fielding, so you still think that, we definitely require the fielding coach. So let's come to the tour that's coming underway. Is Pakistan ready on its home soil, on its home ground, to face South Africa?
Only when Pakistan get the other team bundled out on a lower score. If they, again, you need to be very firm up there.
Right, sir.
If they put up a total of 450 odd runs,
Right, sir.
so already, when the openers go into bat, they know if a early wicket has fallen down, then of course the whole team crumbles.
Right.
And because of they are not prepared in such a manner. Yeah, but I believe that they are preparing wickets for spinners, and probably Pakistan would be playing at least two spinners, if I'm not mistaken. That is, but of course they can change those things at the last minute too. But
Right.
that's what I've heard, that they are going in with their spinners
Right.
in mind. And that is the best policy, really, because Pakistani batsmen are not so great against faster bowlers. If
Right.
they prepare pitches of grassy or even a very sporting wicket, then they are also vulnerable to get out on a lower score, which Pakistan naturally wouldn't want. So they will ought to go. They should go rather with the spinning tracks and make a reasonable big score to put South African into the corner or something of the
Right.
sort.
So basically, you're suggesting that we're looking at more of the spinning side, because I had a word with this South African journalist the other day, and this was exactly his stance as well. That South African team has actually added two spinners, and they're looking forward for having two spinners on board as well. And I'm sure that would probably be the strategy for Pakistan as well. Sir, one more thing: do you think the coronavirus situation or the quarantine situation will have an impact on the performance of the Proteas?
No, I've said it so many times, so many interviews. It is how you've prepared yourself.
Right.
You can jump up ropes inside a room. You can even let me give you like my how I used to prepare myself. I
Sure.
used to take my bat and gloves right in the room and used to play in front of the mirror, and just imagining. You got to eat, breathe, drink cricket. That's what it is. That's the name of the game, and that's how these world records. They don't just come easy. And they don't come overnight, I tell you.
Right, sir.
So you need to put a lot of effort and sweat for to get hold of such laurels for your country.
Right, sir.
But again, you need to prepare yourself fully rather than going in as a student into a test game.
Right, sir. So basically, so the complete suggestion that comes from your side is practice would definitely make you perfect. If you have the passion and you want to continue doing this, you need to be always in cricket to prove the professionalism and the love for cricket. Sir, what do you think would be, and would there be any changes, like with regards to the team, the squad? Do you think, or because some performances like in New Zealand were heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, but do you see any potential changes that you may talk about in the team?
Like there's no harm in trying, because you are playing in your homeland, and at the same time there are a recently concluded Tazam Trophy games that finished, and I'm sure there must be a few contenders which would be coming out of the shell and go into the deeper end of Test cricket and
Right.
chase the. So the thing is, definitely there is an outside chance. A new management committee with a new mindset had come
Right.
into being, and I would be happy to see a few youngsters going in.
Because sir, Imamul Haq is also not playing because of the
and
injury.
play
Babar
these
Azam had that injury,
games.
so it's still tricky on choosing. So I'd definitely talk about Imamul Haq as well, because he had an injury too, and he's not on board on the squad this time.
Look, apart from Babar, let's put it this way. Apart from Babar,
Right.
there's no other Pakistani batsman, to my mind, that who can come and score freely.
Right.
And when the pressure situation is on, he can, take the team out of troubled waters with his class act of batting, what he displays every now and then.
Right.
It is the track record which takes you, which tells other people, yes, I'm here to stay.
Right.
I'm one of the best around. And no wonder Pakistan is banking on Babar Azam and had been banking on him for quite a bit of time, I would say.
Right, sir.
And I wish and hope that I'd love to see him into action very soon.
Right, sir. So basically, but like I said, and like we always talk about, it eventually comes down to not only one person. I think it has to be a collateral and a collective work as a team.
That's true, but when the top guns, if they don't, and if you're relying on someone to an extent that he's the one who would play the key role for our team,
Right, sir.
and he happens to get out early or don't play at all,
Right.
then of course the equilibrium of the team doesn't perform or show its true colors. To be very honest,
Right.
it makes a difference, and that's how Pakistan. Because Pakistani cricketers, they had not been prepared in such a manner that today you would be the one to take and lead the team all the way from all these troubles if one is facing one.
Right.
So that's what it is. If you need to prepare yourself, but the thing is, again, I would come to the same thing.
Right.
The PCB had given opportunities time and again on the failures of the coaches who had not played cricket to an extent of getting
Right, sir.
high remarks from other countries among the fellow members, the players. Only those players are among the coaches panels who had been the failures in their lifetime,
Right, sir.
and yet they are the one holding these so-called certificates that they are Mr. Know-all of cricket, and they would be the one who would be teaching these youngsters. The blame game, I would say, would go on. They should.
Yes, sir. I
PCB
absolutely,
is the one who is on the driving seat, and they
Agreed.
are to be played.
Anyway,
in my
sir,
point of view.
thank you so very much for being on this show and passing on your knowledge
you,
to us.
pleasure.
It was a pleasure having a word with you with regards to your knowledge. Thank you very much, sir. So that was Sir Shoaib Mohammed, and he actually passed on his wisdom and knowledge. And with regards to that, we'll still continue on the journey of sports that we actually started. This was from the world of cricket. Now we'll come up to the world of football. Yes, it's going to be Liverpool versus Manchester United. It is going to be one of the interesting shows because they have this rivalry for a very, very long time. And if you're a big fan of Liverpool, you will definitely understand the rivalry that actually comes in. But some people, when I speak to some Liverpool fan, they're like, no, Manchester United is not going to win, even if they have Pogba. So it's going to be interesting because the match is scheduled for Sunday. So we're looking forward on seeing what the result and how the result comes out. Now we're switching from football to F1. Yes, with regards to F1, Charles Leclerc actually turned corona positive recently. And Leclerc is not only first F1 rider who actually tested positive, he's like amongst the third, fourth, and even fifth, to be honest, because last time I spoke, we had a McLaren driver who actually tested positive. So that is another story. We wish him the very best so he heals up quickly. And the last but not the least, the most important news about golf. Yes, about golf, there's going to be a very limited attendance that is actually planned for Augusta National, which is going to be in April. And not to forget that this is going to be the 85th Masters that is scheduled. Dustin Johnson actually stormed a 4-shot victory in the previous, which was the 84th Masters. But anyways, this was from the world of golf as well. I think you guys had a great time. And please reach out to us whenever you can through our social media handles. Till then, take good care of yourself. All the best and bye-bye.